Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're tackling a really crucial framework in the world of product development, Advanced Product Quality Planning, or APQP. Think of it as, well, the essential blueprint for making sure the products we all use are consistently high quality and, actually meet our needs. If you're involved in bringing any product to life, this is stuff you need to know.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And in this deep dive, we're not just going to define APQP. We want to equip you with a solid grasp of how to manage this process effectively.
Right.
We'll be looking at how modern digital tools are, well, transforming APQP. We're drawing our insights from info on the eAuditor Audits and Inspections website. That's eAuditor. And we pronounce it eAuditor?
eAuditor, got it.
Yeah, including their APQP Planning Checklist, which is quite detailed.
Exactly. So our goal today is simple. Give you a clear understanding of the core stages of APQP and show how a platform like eAuditor, Audits and Inspections, again, that's eAuditor, can make this whole thing, well, frankly, much more streamlined, less overwhelming.
Definitely less overwhelming.
So let's dive in. APQP is, it's a structured method, right? It's not just a random list of tasks.
Precisely. It provides a very deliberate framework. It's broken down into specific phases. And that eAuditor Audits and Inspections checklist, it lays this out very clearly.
Okay.
It starts with the project kickoff. This is where you define the project's scope. Like, what exactly are we trying to achieve here?
Right.
You set your objectives, figure out realistic timelines, and, crucially, assemble your team. You've got to clearly define roles, responsibilities.
Makes sense.
And those initial stakeholder meetings. Super key to make sure everyone's on the same page right from the get-go. What are some common missteps you might see there?
Well, that's a good question. I guess maybe not clearly defining the scope. If that's fuzzy at the start,
Spot on.
everything else down the line is going to be shaky.
Exactly. If the foundation isn't solid, the whole structure is wobbly.
Okay, so we've got the project defined, the team's in place. What's next on that eAuditor checklist?
Following kickoff is product design and development. So now the focus really sharpens on understanding the customer. What are their exact needs, their expectations?
The voice of the customer.
You're translating those into, well, concrete product requirements and specs. This phase also involves feasibility studies, like, can we actually make this thing as envisioned?
Right. Is it even possible?
And initial risk assessments, too.
Yeah.
You want to spot potential challenges early. Then comes the actual design work, models, prototypes, all that.
Okay.
And finally, you rigorously test and validate that design. Make sure it hits the requirements you set out.
So moving from an idea to a workable design, constantly checking if it meets customer needs and if it's manufacturable. Got it. What's next? Moving towards actually making it.
Then we shift into process design and development. This is where you map out the whole manufacturing journey.
Yeah.
You identify all the necessary processes, create detailed process flow diagrams, visualizing every single step, and develop control plans to ensure consistency and quality during production. Control plans, right.
It's also here you do process capability studies. Can our processes actually meet the specs consistently? And, of course, designing and validating all the tooling and equipment needed. It's like designing the factory, not just the product.
Right, all the nitty-gritty of how it'll be made. Okay, so you know how you're going to make it.
Yeah.
You need the parts, the components. That brings us to supplier selection and management, I assume.
You got it. This phase is all about finding and qualifying those critical suppliers, the ones providing key materials, key components.
Right.
You've got to rigorously evaluate their capabilities. Can they meet your quality standards, your delivery needs?
Yeah, reliability is key.
Totally. You establish clear quality agreements, set expectations, conduct audits of their facilities, their processes. Sometimes you even implement supplier development programs to, help them improve and align with your standards. It's about building a strong, reliable supply chain.
So suppliers as actual partners in quality, not just vendors.
Exactly. It's a partnership. Makes total sense. Okay. Supply chain is getting sorted. Manufacturing process is defined. What happens then?
Then it's time to gear up for full-scale production. That falls under production planning and control.
Okay, the real deal.
Yeah. This involves developing detailed production schedules,
Yeah.
figuring out your capacity, defining material requirements, setting up inventory management.
Logistics.
Big time. Plus, setting up comprehensive quality control procedures, in-process checks, final inspections, and implementing robust systems to trace products, from raw materials all the way to the finished item.
So you can not only make it right, but deliver on time and know the history of every single unit produced. Traceability.
Crucial.
Now, things don't always go perfectly smoothly. That's where risk management comes in, yeah.
Absolutely vital. This phase is about proactively identifying potential risks. Anything that could impact the project.
Like what?
Could be in the product design, the manufacturing processes, the supply chain, even regulatory stuff. Once you spot these potential pitfalls, you develop solid plans to mitigate them. And you need contingency plans too, just in case those risks actually happen. And what's really interesting here, risk assessment isn't a one-and-done thing.
Oh.
No, you need to continuously monitor it, update it as the project evolves. Often, the biggest risk is just failing to revisit your risk assessments. Don't let it become a static document.
Good point. Stay ahead of problems, have backup plans. Makes total sense. Okay, we're building things, managing risks. How do we know our measurements are even right? That sounds like measurement systems analysis, MSA.
Exactly. MSA is all about ensuring your data is reliable. You evaluate the accuracy, the precision, the stability of the tools and systems you use for measuring critical stuff.
Right.
This often involves doing gauge repeatability and reproducibility studies, GR&R for short.
GR&R, okay.
Yeah, it helps you understand the variation within your measurement system itself.
Yeah.
If your GR&R is high, your measurement system might be adding too much noise, making it unreliable.
Oh, I see.
And you also need strict procedures for regular calibration and maintenance of all your measuring gear.
So making sure the numbers you're collecting actually mean something. Okay, following that, we have statistical process control, SPC. How does that build on accurate measurements?
Well, SPC is where you put that reliable data to work in real time. You monitor your processes as they happen.
Okay.
You identify the critical parameters in your manufacturing processes, establish acceptable control limits based on actual data analysis, of course.
Right.
Then you use SPC charts to track how things vary over time. This lets you spot when a process might be drifting out of control before it starts making bad parts.
So it's proactive.
Exactly. It's about preventing defects, not just catching them after the fact.
Catching issues early, preventing bigger headaches. Okay, then we need to make sure the final product actually works as intended, like in the real world. That's product validation.
Correct. This phase involves rigorous testing. Does the product meet its intended use? Does it satisfy all customer expectations?
Okay.
This means a whole range of tests: durability, reliability, overall performance testing. Does it function as designed? You also validate your production processes by doing trial runs under normal conditions. Make sure everything works smoothly at scale.
Trial runs, right.
Ultimately, the big goal here is getting formal customer approval. Sign-off. Confirmation they're happy with the product and the process used to make it.
Getting that crucial customer nod. Now, all this planning, developing, validating, that generates a ton of information, right? Which leads us to documentation and reporting.
Absolutely. This phase is about meticulously keeping track of everything. A comprehensive record of all APQP activities, decisions made, all the data collected through the whole process.
Sounds like a lot.
It can be. You generate detailed reports tracking progress against milestones, monitoring quality metrics, highlighting KPIs. And a really critical output here is often the PPPP.
PPP.
Production part approval process documentation. It's basically a big package of documents you give the customer. It shows, with objective evidence, that your process can consistently make parts that meet all their specs and quality requirements.
So a full audit trail. Crucial for accountability, future reference.
Exactly. And finally, APQP isn't static, is it? It's about constantly getting better. Which brings us to continuous improvement.
The final phase.
Well, it's more like an ongoing aspect. Continuous improvement involves setting up strong feedback loops, capture lessons learned, proactively look for ways to improve the product, the processes.
Okay.
You do post-launch reviews. How's the product doing out there? What's customer satisfaction like? And you implement KPA corrective and preventive action processes.
KPA.
Yeah, to fix issues that pop up, but more importantly, to stop them from happening again. Think of continuous improvement less as a phase and more like a mindset, always looking for those incremental gains, maybe drawing inspiration from lean methodologies.
A constant cycle of learning and refining quality. Okay, so that gives us a really good overview of the APQP phases based on that eAuditor Audits and Inspections checklist. Now, let's get into how their platform, eAuditor, just reminding everyone, eAuditor, pronounced eAuditor, can actually help manage all this, practically speaking.
Right. This is where you see the real efficiency gains. eAuditor Audits and Inspections provides a centralized digital space to manage this entire checklist and all the related APQP stuff.
Instead of drowning in spreadsheets and emails?
Exactly. No more chaotic mix of spreadsheets, emails, random paper documents. You get one integrated system. It starts simply with user registration and login. Secure access for everyone on the APQP team who needs it.
Okay, basic but necessary.
Then, with intuitive project setup, you can easily define new APQP projects, assign specific roles, permissions to each team member.
So clear accountability. Everyone knows their job from the start. What about the checklists themselves? How does eAuditor handle those?
eAuditor Audits and Inspections really streamlines checklist creation. They offer like a library of predefined templates based on industry standards. That saves a ton of setup time.
Oh, that's handy.
Huge time saver. But you also have the flexibility to create totally custom checklists if you need something specific for your project.
Good, because every product's a bit different.
Exactly. The platform lets you organize these checklists logically by APQP phase, and users with the right permissions can easily add, edit, or delete items as things change.
That adaptability sounds key.
Oh.
Okay, checklists are created. How do teams actually use them day to day in eAuditor?
That's handled through checklist management. Users can easily see and manage all the checklist items for their assigned phases. They update the status, complete, in progress, not started.
So you get a quick visual overview.
Yeah, a clear real-time picture of project progress. And a really valuable feature. You can directly attach supporting files, photos, detailed notes right to the checklist items.
Oh, nice.
This is incredibly helpful for that documentation and reporting phase we talked about. It keeps all your evidence, records, justifications organized and accessible in one spot.
Okay, that makes sense.
It really helps with data-driven decisions and makes audits way smoother because the proof is right there.
No more digging through folders for that one photo or test result. That sounds like a massive time saver. Huge improvement for organization. What about keeping everyone on schedule? Deadlines.
Yep. eAuditor Audits and Inspections includes notifications and reminders. The system can automatically ping team members about upcoming deadlines, overdue tasks, any actions assigned to them.
Ah, okay.
This directly supports effective production planning and control and helps make sure those critical project kickoff timelines actually stick.
Proactive nudges helps keep things moving.
Yeah.
And teamwork, communication. How does eAuditor help there?
Through its collaboration and communication features, the platform can make it easier for team members to talk to each other and even external stakeholders about specific checklist items, project updates, any issues that come up. This is vital for keeping everyone aligned right from the project kickoff and for quickly tackling problems that pop up in any phase.
Keeps everyone in the loop, connected, no matter where they are. Now, obviously, with all this project data online, security is a big one.
Absolutely. And eAuditor Audits and Inspections puts a strong emphasis on data security and privacy. They use robust security measures to protect sensitive project and checklist data.
Good.
And they adhere to relevant data privacy rules, ensuring confidentiality and integrity of user info.
That's crucial reassurance for any company thinking about going digital with this. Okay, so you've got all this data being collected. How do you turn it into useful reports and insights?
That's where the robust reporting and documentation features in eAuditor Audits and Inspections shine. The platform's dashboard can generate comprehensive reports, summaries of checklist completion, overall project progress, any outstanding issues needing attention.
Okay, like a high-level view.
Exactly. And users can easily export these reports in different formats, like PDF. It makes it easy to share with stakeholders or just archive for long-term records. This directly supports all those tough documentation and reporting needs of APQP, including prepping that complex PPP package.
Right, turning raw data into something actionable and shareable. Very valuable. And does eAuditor play nice with other systems a company might already use?
Yes, they offer integration with other tools. This means eAuditor Audits and Inspections can connect and swap data with other common project management or quality management systems used in APQP. Creates a smoother, more integrated workflow overall.
Okay, so for you, the listener, let's bring this together. What's the key takeaway? How does a platform like eAuditor Audits and Inspections, again, it's eAuditor, really make this whole APQP world simpler?
Well, what's truly insightful, I think, is how eAuditor Audits and Inspections takes this structured method, APQP, and gives you an equally structured but way more efficient digital way to manage it.
Right.
By putting everything in one place and providing clear workflows, it just makes the whole process much more accessible, more manageable. It really helps prevent that feeling of being buried in information.
Yeah, information overload is real.
Totally. You get this clear digital path to track progress in real time, quickly spot areas needing attention, and just make sure all those essential APQP steps are actually getting done systematically.
You can almost see those aha moments, right? When you realize how each feature in eAuditor directly tackles a specific APQP challenge or requirement. It changes APQP from this maybe daunting task into clear, trackable, collaborative steps.
Precisely. It provides that crucial real-time visibility and organization. It helps you avoid feeling overwhelmed by just the sheer amount of detail involved in doing product quality planning right.
Okay, so to wrap up our deep dive today, we've really hammered home that APQP is indispensable for ensuring top quality products, and modern digital tools, specifically like eAuditor, Audits and Inspections, remember the pronunciation, eAuditor, offer a remarkably efficient, effective way to actually do it.
Yeah. And this brings us to a final thought, maybe something provocative for you, the listener, to mull over. Consider the ripple effects. What could implementing a standardized digital approach to quality planning really do? How could it not just transform your product development, but boost overall organizational efficiency? And maybe most importantly, strengthen the trust your customers have in your products. Think about how these core ideas, structured planning, digital tools, could maybe apply even beyond manufacturing in lots of different fields.